Are you feeling a bit anxious or nervous about flying? Because let me tell you, I 100% can relate. I'm a pretty anxious flyer myself, but that hasn't stopped me, nor will it ever stop me from flying and traveling around the world. But I have had to come up with some ways and explore options that are out there in order to cope with that fear and try to make for a more relaxed flying experience.
So without further ado, we thought we'd share with you some of our top tips for how to help you overcome your fear of flying. Let's get to it.
Tip number 1 is to listen to music or watch movies to help distract you while you're on your flight.
Having something to just take your mind off of the experience or the fear of flying is the biggest part here, but having your favorite music or a movie that's like a go-to for you, or a new exciting movie, is something to just take your mind off of flying and puts it on something else. A really good tactic that we like is noise canceling headphones.
Yes, those are
Canceling out everything around you, maybe even like closing your eyes and listening to music, is a great way to distract yourself and kind of drown out all the potential nervousness that you might get of just the sound of an airplane can sometimes freak you out too.
Yeah, so make sure to like maybe make a Spotify playlist when you're flying. Maybe it will be something that's more like classical music and really calming, or maybe you kind of want to have something more like upbeat and empowering and being like, yeah, I can do this. But whatever it is,
jamming out in the plane,
right? Whatever it is, just like give it some thought on what's gonna help you help you the most. And yeah, I think that really helps me a lot.
Tip number 2, try to put yourself to sleep for the flight.
So consider things like a neck pillow or fuzzy socks. I personally love having like warm fuzzy socks on the planes. You could consider like making sure you bring a big bulky sweater like this, or a nice blanket, or things like that. So
yeah, and a lot of people love eye masks as well to really shut out the light of the plane ahead of time.
That's a good one too.
During the flight. Also ahead of time, you know, don't drink things like coffee or even something like alcohol can, you know, make you more anxious sometimes as well. So just make sure you're getting on the flight really chill and almost a little sleepy, and then once you sit in that chair, you put all your comfy stuff on and you're ready to just pass out. A lot of people also will try something like melatonin, which is a very natural remedy to help put yourself to sleep.
Yep, it's an over-the-counter drug. It comes in gummy forms. Something to consider.
You know, if that's your comfort level, that's fine. That's something we've done in the past to get through long flights. But you know, I think especially just all the comfy things like the eye mask, the neck pillow, all that sort of stuff can help you make you extra comfortable, and putting yourself to sleep can make the flight go way faster,
which is what you want if you're an anxious flyer.
Absolutely.
Tip number 3, remind yourself that you are okay. So as an anxious flyer myself, I get really nervous and get like way too in my head of like, oh no, the plane might crash, something bad might happen, blah, 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 blah. But like logically, you know that the likelihood of that happening is like super minor, and the crashes don't usually happen with turbulence. I get anxious when turbulence happens,
when it gets all bumpy,
you logically know that that is actually totally fine and very normal. So I just find to like putting yourself in the right mind spot to like keep telling yourself that it's okay, you're okay, really helps.
Do statistics help you? Or do you think that's something that...
For me, statistics help. Another thing too is just, I feel like part of flying is not feeling like you're in control of anything. And so what really helps is just like, make sure you actually pay attention to like the safety regulations, see where your exit are, familiar yourself with like the stewardesses and stewards, thank you, that are there to help you, so you could talk to them to try and make for a calmer flight, things like that. So
giving you a sense of control can help with the fear.
Yeah, it really does.
There you go. Tip number 4, rely on your friends and family to help calm you on the flight. So if you're traveling with somebody else, like a friend or family, have a good conversation with them, maybe talk about just whatever. Honestly, you know, talking with somebody else can really take your mind off of your fear and kind of getting yourself in your own head too much.
Yep.
Even something as simple as just holding somebody else's hand and squeezing them.
I am such a hand holder and I have no shame. It doesn't matter if it's Ben or my mom or a friend.
The grip gets extra tight.
It does, you know, don't grab a stranger that you're sitting next to unless, you know, they consent to hand holding. But hand holding I find is really helpful for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, even if you if you're like an extrovert and you just want to meet somebody next to you, I know you're very good at this, just striking up a conversation with somebody else on the flight. They don't have to know that you're nervous, just get to know them, and it's a good excuse to just meet new people.
I actually, when I flew out to meet Ben, our first trip to Oregon together, the guy I was sitting next to was this 28-year-old man, and it was the first time he had ever flown. And so he was sitting on the window, I was in the middle seat, and he seemed really anxious, and I was like, are you okay? And he's like, actually, this is my first time flying, and I'm kind of anxious. And I was like, oh, okay. And he just was asking me questions about like, what does it feel like when you take off, blah, 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 blah. And so I just kind of explained it to him. I said, it's totally okay, it's natural, it feels kind of like a roller coaster, but not that scary. And there you go. We ended up talking like the whole 3 hours, and it said it really helped them and it helped me, and you know, there you go. So. And
she made a new friend.
I made a new friend. So.
So don't be afraid to talk to strangers, or even better, if you have friends or family there with you, strike up a good conversation, or just give a good handhold.
Oh, hand holding. On or off the plane, really.
Okay.
Tip number 5 is to pick your seat wisely.
Yeah, if you're someone who likes to see what's happening and wants to make sure you're okay, make sure you get a window seat so you can like see takeoff happen, make sure you're still in the air, etc. If you're the opposite of that, you don't want to see anything that's happening out the window, make sure you can secure an aisle seat. And honestly, just one or the other can help a lot, because I know that the middle seat for a lot of people can feel a little claustrophobic.
Who wants that? Nobody.
Nobody wants that. I'm not afraid of flying, and I don't want a middle seat.
Exactly.
But the aisle seat might make you more comfortable as well, also because you have the comfort of the steward or the stewardess walking down the aisle.
I also know some people who are like anxious flyers that like to sit on the aisle, just because almost being with so many people is what makes them anxious. It's not the actual flying bit, it's just like the claustrophobic feeling. So if you're on an aisle, then that way you don't have to ask to like get up to use the restroom or do whatever. You just feel a little bit more
space in the aisle.
More space, more control. So give that some thought of whatever's personally works for you. So.
Yeah, just think about that ahead of time so you can plan ahead and get whatever's comfortable for you.
Woo.
Tip number 6 is try to relax before boarding as much as possible.
Yes, so get a breakfast, a big fat breakfast.
Or dinner, a nice dinner.
Or dinner, yeah, whatever it is.
I
find treating myself to like a really good filling meal like kind of just helps calm me down, so you're not relying on just airplane food or things like that. I don't know, use a massage chair that's like in the airport.
You know, whatever makes you relax, whether it's good food or just, again, calming yourself with good music or something ahead of time, will help a ton, so you're not just like sitting there freaking out in the waiting room and then getting on the plane and also freaking out. Like,
yeah, maybe go for a walk in the airport that's like a little bit longer to kind of get that energy out, so.
Yeah, maybe work out before you go to the airport. I don't know,
good idea.
Sometimes that helps. Whatever calms you.
Whatever calms you. Put a little lavender on you, a little essential oils, just whatever it is, think about it ahead of time. It could really help a lot. So.
Absolutely. Tip number 7, if you really have serious anxiety about flying, maybe have a conversation with your doctor about some potential medication that could help you get through that flight.
So personally for me, as I said, I am an anxious flyer, so I have talked to my doctor about it, and he did prescribe some medication for me, and it really helps take the edge off. I just take a little pill like an hour before I actually hop onto the flight, and I just feel so much calmer and chiller when I am flying, and it makes a huge difference. So obviously I or we will never recommend like a specific medication, but if this is something that you think might help just take the edge off, as I said, there's no shame, and it's actually really maybe a good idea just to have that conversation with your doctor and see if that's a good fit and decision for you as well.
So those are our top 7 tips to help you overcome your fear of flying. If you liked what we said today, make sure to hit the like button. And if you have any additional tips for people who have a fear of flying, make sure to throw them down in the comment section down below.
Yes, please.
Make sure to always subscribe and ring that bell for more videos just like this on. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.